morning, everyone. I'm Don Williamson. I am the 2020 Chairman of the Board of the Corona Chamber of Commerce, and I would like to thank each and every one of you for being on this call today. We have a lot to tell you about, and again, as always, we strive to make this worthwhile and give you information that you can use in your business and in your everyday life. First off, I'd like to wish you a happy Veterans Day and thank all of those who have served or are serving for their contribution to our defense of our great country. Also those who are members of your families and friends who are serving or have served. The strength of this country and the fact that we have our very existence is due to our veterans and those who service our military, and we are ever mindful of their contribution to this country. So thank you and happy Veterans Day. Today I'm going to be sharing this agenda with our chairman-elect, Kim Mabon, who is the owner of Creative by Design. We'll be providing details and announcements, and it is my pleasure to introduce Kim, and maybe Kim is going to tell us about today's sponsor.
Thank you, Don, and good morning, everybody. Today's event is sponsored by Peabody Engineering and Supply. Peabody Engineering was founded in 1952 in Gardena, California. They are a manufacturer and distributor of tanks, telecommunication, disguising equipment, and other various plastic products that meet the demand of a wide range of markets. Peabody Engineering operates a 32,400 square foot corporate headquarters and manufacturing facility located right here in Corona. Thank you again to Peabody Engineering for sponsoring today's call.
Thank you, Kim, and thank you to Peabody Engineering. A reminder, as always, please remember to use the chat button. There will be time for questions after each one of our speakers. Feel free to use that chat button. We will then call through the questions so they won't have duplicates, and Stephanie will forward those to the speakers and keep it going and keep us organized. The Corona Chamber is always been a tool for the business community, and we do what we can to help you, including this call, to provide you with critical updates and information we need, that you need to know. One of the events that we have for your benefit, Kim is going to tell us about right now.
Thank you, Don. On December 14th, we have the privilege of hearing from our final Coffee with an Entrepreneur speaker of 2020, Chantel Blash. Chantel is a Medicare broker with Meridian Pacific Insurance Services, and she has a great backstory that you don't want to miss. Join this free event held in partnership with the City of Corona. RSVP now using the link on the screen. Don?
Thank you, Kim. You know, these updates are something that we do to help our members. And so if you're in this call, the chances are good you are a member, but if not, please contact Robert Yanez. He's in charge of our membership development services, and he's our specialist here at the Chamber, available all the time. If you're not a member, give him a call, or if you know someone in your business life that you think should be a member and could benefit from being a part of our Corona Chamber of Commerce, please refer them to Robert, and he'll contact them and let them know what's available. Our chamber is a regional chamber, so you don't have to live in the Corona city limits, or you know, you can be in the county, you can be in one of our neighboring cities, and you're welcome to be down here and participate and take advantage of the Corona Chamber of Commerce and be part of it. The more we have, the stronger we are. If you refer someone who becomes a member, then you get a free advertisement in our Corona Business News. So please give Robert a call. Keep his name in your mind when you meet and go about, and remember the Corona Chamber of Commerce. Thank you. At this time, it is my privilege to introduce to you someone who has long served the city of Corona. He is been involved in so many things, from charity work and nonprofits, right up to being former mayor of the city of Corona. He served on the Corona City Council for 8 years, and he was, well, we thought he was the first assembly person to ever be from Corona, but recently, just in the last month or so, I found there was someone who was in the California State Assembly back in the teens. But there was a good, 90 years between that person and Jeff Miller, who was, like I say, a member of the California State Assembly. He has been a friend of this Chamber of Commerce for many years. He operates his own insurance company, and he is a key member of our legislative outreach, always helping this chamber. So please welcome at this time, former member of the Assembly and former Corona Corona Mayor, Jeff Miller.
Thank you, Don. I'd like to welcome everybody to the call. I think we have some very important and informative information today between me and Jeff Gibson, our legislative director. And I'd just like to first start out, it's already been said, but to thank any veterans or veterans' families for the sacrifices you've given our country. Folks like me that didn't serve really appreciate the commitment. So with that, you may have noticed that there was an election last week. I don't know. Was there something going on?
I think it was last week from what I read.
Okay. So I don't know how much stranger 2020 can get, but it's almost over and we'll move into 2021. I'd like to start out congratulating Congressman Ken Calvert and our state rep assembly member Cervantes and Senator Roth, who appear to have won their races at this point in time. There are some votes that are still outstanding. There's about 169,000 vote by mail ballots that still need to be counted. And there's 25,000 provisional ballots that still need to be counted. And the next update on the registrar's website is at 6 p.m. Pretty much every evening they're doing an update at 6 p.m. And you can access that at voteinfo.net. Couple local races and couple measures. It appears in District 3 that Tom Richins is going to be successful and take that district and that seat. So I'd like to congratulate him on his efforts. And I also see that Jason's on the call, and Jason, I had the opportunity to serve with you. You came in when I left, but I was in the assembly when you were there for so many years. And so many of us are very grateful for the time and what you've done for our city. And we really, really appreciate what you've given to us. So on a positive note, thank you, Jason. District 2 is Tony D'Addario. Tony and Tom, you've all met on our Zoom calls, and Tony ran unopposed, and obviously he sailed to victory. Measure X and Measure Y. Measure Y is the 12-year, three-term, 12-year max term limits for city council. Overwhelmingly passed. Everybody kind of felt that it would overwhelmingly pass. Term limits are popular, and very rarely do you see those fail. Measure X is interesting. It seems to be fluctuating. Well, Measure X, as you know, is the 1% sales tax ballot initiative for the city of Corona that will increase sales tax 1%. That Measure X has been fluctuating between 300 and 600 votes, supporting and passing. But it seems like every time they update, something rejigulates it, and it's. I would say Measure X is too early to call at this point. I would say just keep an eye on it, and we'll see where it ends up. With that, I think I'd like to hand it off to Jeff Gibson, who is going to talk a little bit about some of the things we've done this year with Corona 2020, talk a little bit about Corona 2025 and a survey that is going to be distributed to the membership. It's important because we're in the process, the chamber's in the process of updating their legislative platform every year. And so any feedback from the members is always appreciated. So we make sure we can advocate appropriately for our membership. With that, I want to thank Don Williamson and the staff at Chamber, Bobby, Stephanie, Desiree. Thank you for everything you do. And you're the ones that keep the the trains rolling. And I really appreciate that. So with that, I'll hand it off to Jeff Gibson. And it's all yours.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that, and thank you, Don. And absolutely, we appreciate everybody who served in the military, defending the freedoms that are going to take a couple more weeks to sort through here. Just a quick reminder: we do this every 2 years on elections. No state has certified their elections at this point. By design, every state legislature has set out basically a target date of December 1st, somewhere between November 25th and December 1st, depending upon each state, to certify their election results. Both parties on elections across California, even in the high desert, and then down in Orange County and Los Angeles County and San Bernardino counties, have active court issues around close elections. So any reporting that you would see dealing with any party of any type going through and or requesting recounts, or if it seems like the count is taking very long because we have a close national election, that is entirely within the system. So as a for instance, the most important tax issue that has been on the ballot in the last 42 years is Prop 15, and that was on the general election ballot. The legislature has tried over 35 separate years to enact Prop 15, each time having it be voted down. So you can give an idea of how long this has been in the state conversation. That election was called this morning at midnight, defeating Prop 15, leaving Prop 13 B. So all of your business employer taxes are precisely as they were the day before the election. Going into next year, you will still have your businesses assessed at 1% of the purchase price of that you paid when you purchased business property if you own it. So everything stands pat. But to give you an idea, that election was not called until last night. There are still elections that are out there. Prop 19 is yet to be called as well. We have we have 2 House seats. And this morning it was reported widely that Nancy Pelosi is having difficulty because of the losses in the House in putting together the votes for her to remain Speaker. Well, 2 of those votes, one is in the high desert in a race between Congressman, he's been serving for about a year, Representative Mike Garcia, who's a Republican, versus the Democrat Assemblywoman from the area, Christy Smith. There's about 400 votes at any given time that separate them. Both have had the lead in the last 48 hours. And so that's going back and forth. The second election that is yet to be called is the Young Kim versus first term former Assemblywoman Young Kim from Fullerton is challenging first term Democrat incumbent Gil Cisneros. And this is a rematch from 2018. Cisneros was one of the key votes for Speaker Pelosi, and not casting any, just reporting, but to show you how these events are playing out across the country. That race is key because Representative Cisneros has supported Speaker Pelosi in the past. He currently is down by several thousand votes to Young Kim, and so he cannot participate in the caucus elections this afternoon, even if you were elected. So we have a lot of close elections across the country. Again, we have a major initiative or 2 that still have not been called, so things are out there. So with that, we're going to shift to, do we have any questions?
Yeah, Jeff, did you bring up Michelle Steele? I didn't, maybe I missed it. That's
No,
important.
no, yeah, well, yeah, and that was called yesterday as well. Thank you, Jeff, for reminding me. The congressional seat that starts in Huntington Beach and represents Costa Mesa, Newport Beach, basically, and then inland into Orange County a little bit. Previously was represented for many years by Congressman Dana Rohrabacher. He was defeated in 2018 by Harley Ruda, a local businessman here in Orange County, shifting that seat to Democrat. That seat has now shifted back to Republican. The chairwoman of the Orange County Board of Supervisors, Michelle Steele, pretty soundly, by about 8,000 votes cast so far, defeated Harley Ruda in his first attempt at re-election. So that was called yesterday. So we're still calling. These are major races. This is not. These are races of national importance. And as we've talked about, there are still races in Corona that are extremely important, tax issues and a city council race. And so this goes on, as any of us can attest, for weeks, unfortunately, in some cases. So we're ongoing. Stephanie, were there any other questions in the chat on that before I move on?
Not from what's been covered so far.
Okay, great.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah.
We should also note that Michelle Steele is the first Korean American elected to Congress.
Absolutely. Yeah. First Korean American. This has been dubbed the year of the Republican woman. There are 18 new members of Congress headed to Washington, all of them women, many of them women of color. So yes, it was a very diverse group of people that were elected to the House. It's going to be one of the most diverse House memberships in history. So that's very good. So yeah, it's absolutely important. Thank you for reminding me, Jeff. So with that, going on to Corona 2020. So many of you have gone on our trips to Sacramento. In 2017, law continued to change on local planning and the ability of cities and counties and local agencies who we vote for in elections to control local planning. And there were a series of codes that were coming out that were going to limit the ability of cities that did not take positive action to remove traffic from their streets in a measurable way that third parties could verify. And so what we diagnosed when we were in Sacramento on our trip as a group were that we didn't find of anybody on our trip, and usually when you go, you get people from about 40 different communities. Everybody just kind of threw up their hands and just decided, well, that's a bummer. And so we worked with Caltrans, had them come speak to us. We worked with Melanie Perrin, who was at the time the third ranking member of Caltrans administration, and sketched out what became Corona 2020. So our commitment in Corona 2020 was to do everything that we could in 2.5 years to eliminate 1 million hours of traffic. And by doing, and to do that, we diagnosed that we needed to add thousands of jobs locally, and we needed to continue to advocate for the Corona Medical Center and other locations to add medical practices, because we knew that 1 out of 3 or a large group of people regularly used the 91 and the 15 to commute for medical care. And obviously that is a big challenge when you're trying to eliminate traffic from the 91 and the 15. Well, in the 2.5 years, or in just over 2 years, it was 2 years and 2 months between the start at the end of December of 2017 when we launched it as a public-private partnership led by the Corona Chamber in coordination with the city of Corona. And during that time, up until the start of the national emergency orders that have that have gone out from the state and local and everyone. First with the pandemic, and then for obviously other reasons. We had attracted 2,500 jobs as shared with us by private employers. So that was not the chamber generating data saying that we had generated those jobs. Those were members of the community writing us, corresponding with us in writing, saying that you doing this helped create, you sponsoring Corona 2020 and doing this work helped us bring in jobs, attract jobs, locate in Corona. And that number stood at 2,500. And at the time, we had about 650,000 hours of traffic saved. And using analysis provided to us by Caltrans. So one, let me get this on screen. First, we did not create the measure. We were using Caltrans and third-party measures from the Federal Highway Administration, from the Federal Department of the Bureau of Labor, and others to estimate, to create estimate measures of hours in traffic saved. Number two, we used the raw data provided to us in writing by our member businesses to then start to calculate the hours that were being saved in commutes. So, and these are potential commute times that would have not been saved if that job were in Anaheim, or if that job were in San Bernardino, or if that job were in Diamond Bar, or wherever the job previously had been, as opposed to being in Corona. And so that's where the measurement comes in of 650,000 hours. So it's approximately 4 million vehicle miles traveled. And any further with how you generate a vehicle mile traveled measure, because that's instead of boring with the amount of vehicle miles traveled saved, which is a double negative, we would instead translate that into hours of traffic, because everyone on this call knows what an hour of traffic feels like. We all get that. So, those are the results. We stopped gathering information in tallying the amount of traffic saved as soon as the emergency orders happened, because obviously millions of hours were not expended on the 91. They were sitting at home. I mean, we all lived through the quarantine. We're all on this call. This call is an outgrowth of that emergency. And so we did not want to take any sort of credit for anything negative that happened. What we were trying to do, and still trying to do, is to attract jobs here and then create a state and a local, a regional, a state, and a national understanding that explains how important it is for a job to come into Corona, and how that affects our ability to control our process for deciding what is built here, what kind of jobs are located here, and our local control. And that is really what we're trying to do here. So now with that, obviously, December is right around the corner, and December is the end of our Corona 2020 planning process. So we are now in the midst of Corona 2025, or kicking that off. And before I go any further, did anybody have any questions about Corona 2020 per se? Anything in the chat room or?
Nothing in the chat room.
Awesome. I'm stunning you guys into silence again. Awesome. So, Corona 2025. Everybody get excited. Stand up, jump up and down. The next 5 years cannot be worse than the 5 years we have spent in 2020. So, Corona 2025, we are aiming for 1.5 million hours saved. And since we started this process, just as we diagnosed in 2017, the legislature was not going to get less interested in controlling the ability of the city of Corona to plan its operations as we see fit. And sure enough, the standards for the state requirements on cities have continued to increase, meaning that this process is even more important. If we want to be attracting high quality jobs, every single environmental document filed by the city with the city of Corona, every single environmental process that the city begins, every single piece of land that is developed must show how developing that property is going to reduce vehicle miles traveled. One of the things that the federal government wanted to see when we were doing the 91 project was how it was possible that if we got the loan to finish the road, there would be fewer vehicle miles traveled. And this is the double negative, like I said, you get caught in, where you only get the money to improve the road if you have fewer cars to use it. And then if you have fewer cars to use it,
Jeff, you froze.
and
Jeff,
you admit that,
Jeff, I apologize.
then
Jeff,
you're storing.
yeah, I think we lost him completely. The picture's gone. So he's got a weak link there. Can you mute him?
On your competitive road grant, and you may not get your competitive road grant.
Okay,
Are
Jeff.
there?
Jeff, let's.
Yeah, I'm here.
So
Hello.
there was a very weak.
I lost completely.
Yeah, a weak signal from
You
you.
have me on audio?
Well, you're on audio and now you're visible.
Yeah.
But what I'd like you to do, can you go back just a little bit on what you just talked on?
Okay.
Just because it was in and out. Thank you.
You can pick up where you talked about us getting the roads finished.
Oh yes. So in going through why we started Corona 2025. So since we started Corona 2020 in 2017, the state of California has passed a local housing standard, for instance, that is going to require the city of Corona to plan for approximately 6,000 new affordable houses units, along with and because of the formula used to build affordable housing with private money. Usually you build 7 or 8 units of regular housing, of full price, market based housing to pay for 1 unit of affordable housing. And so you're going to have a housing element that's going to be coming in and a discussion on housing that could, on paper, be into the 25,000 unit requirement within the next 8 years. That is an incredible eye-popping amount. I don't know of any city council in the state that is happy about having to put that down on paper. I know that it's going to be incredibly controversial. If we as a city didn't have something like Corona 2025, it would be even more difficult, if not nearly impossible, for the council or the chamber to understand and much less explain to average residents who don't have time to be on this Zoom call, how that would impact their city and how their city could possibly be thinking about these impacts. So that's what the Corona 2025 is designed to do. We got a leg up in Corona 2020. There's no other city in the state that is doing a public-private process like this. And we've been recognized by the state legislature for doing this process. Every time we're in Sacramento, every time we're in Washington, D.C., and everyone who is on those trips can understand how important this is, that when we go through the work that we're doing, the first reaction, whether it's in the U.S. Senate, whether it's in the House, whether it's in the state assembly, whether it's in the state Senate or with Caltrans, basically we get, wow, somebody's taking this seriously. We haven't had anybody that does that yet. Community. I've got 5 bars. I'm not sure what's going on. Are you still having trouble?
Your face froze, but we can hear you.
Well, it's the Botox.
There you go.
Very good. Very, very good.
At least Stephanie thought that was nice. So, all right. So, well, in any case, so here's the deal on Corona 2025. We have to keep the ball rolling. If we want to continue to help Corona advocate for the 91, for the 15, for all of the road projects that we know we absolutely need to improve.
Okay, Jeff, we can't hear you at all now.
Yeah. Why don't we, Jeff, can you just call in on your phone, perhaps?
Just turn off video, that should help.
You should drive down to the chamber.
Yeah, if he lived locally. Jeff Miller,
Yes, sir.
you want to pick up any of this? And okay, I think he just signed off and he's probably calling back on. To everyone on the call right now and those that are receiving this later, the recorded version, this is what happens with technology, and we will get Jeff Gibson back on momentarily. So just hang tight for a couple of seconds, and the information he shares is valuable. You will understand why we have such an emphasis on advocacy and outreach that we do, utilizing someone of Jeff's caliber and talent. I challenge any other chamber in the region as well as in the state to have someone as qualified as Jeff to help get us through these tough times, but also to have the foresight to be able to do planning and looking at things. And Jeff Miller, maybe you can touch on that a little bit, because we are in a campaign right now with our major gifts, and we definitely are looking to continue our programming.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody, I think on this call saw the effort that we put into our legislative platform and the propositions that we were able to, have a say in. And the legislative platform is critical for any organization. We used to do it at the city level every year. We would update it depending on the needs of the city. The chamber will do the same thing, depending on the needs of the business community and what the political environment is and what kind of legislation is trying to be passed, and legislation that hasn't been able to be passed will become in front of us on as a ballot initiative. And it's critical that the chamber has an opinion about these items. And once the survey is out, it'll be really important to hear back from everybody on what their thoughts are.
Okay.
And
Real quick, I think Jeff Gibson's back on.
Yes. I apologize. I have no idea what happened. My phone immediately shut down and said it was overheating. So it didn't feel hot, but I apologize for the glitch completely on my side. So in the interest of time, and I apologize to everybody, and it sounds like Jeff was keeping everybody informed. I'd like to go over the survey really quickly of what we're trying to do. So Corona 2025 ultimately would be presented as a plan. We would produce it here within the Chamber of Commerce. We would propose it, just as we did last time, to the city to be a joint partnership between the two of us, using third-party measures and third-party statistics. So we use statistical measures from Caltrans and other government agencies that the city and our partners in the region would go and ask for our tax dollars back, so that we could improve our roads. And we design it so it goes directly in. So Caltrans does not have any problem understanding precisely how many our results. We've designed it so that we basically manage it, but we use their data. and we manage the collection, and we manage the analysis of it using their processes, if that makes sense. And so what we would like to do is take a survey of all of you and encourage you to have your employees and those that you work with take the survey as well. The survey is at ocginfo.com/Corona2025. It's Corona 2025. And it's up on it should be up on the slide. All of the data comes back to my company. It's kept entirely private, and if you leave your email address or your contact information, we will let you know what the anonymous results are. So there really isn't anything here that we're asking that gets into what is going on in your business or anything like that. So, but to look at this, there's approximately 14 different questions, but really just a few, and we can go through. One is an economic outlook. Do we think by 2025 our economy will be stronger or weaker? Is it important to attract jobs? And by attracting jobs, is it critical that those jobs eliminate traffic? Improving medical care, is that a key component of improving life here in Corona? And then we get into how you use the freeways and the local roads. So do you use for work the 91 and the 15 more than 4 times a week? Outside of work, do you use the 91 and the 15 for more than 50 miles of travel each week? These aren't accidental numbers that we use. If you use the freeways more than 4 times a week, then you are considered a regular commuter under Caltrans rules. If you are using outside work for more than 50 miles per week, then you're considered a regular commuter for leisure as well. And so we're just kind of looking at that. Does traffic cause delays in your life of more than 2 hours per week? There again, very, very, very straightforward. And then the final portion of that is how you commute. So do you use rideshare? Do you commute alone? Is there some combination therein? And click what deals with you personally, and encourage others to do so as well. Those results will be used, will be given to the executive committee, and then we will use those in how we put together the overall plan of implementation, and then ultimately present that to the city of Corona, and then the state legislature, and then Caltrans at our next lobbying trip, and then on to the federal government in the House and the Senate on our next trip back there, and on and on. But the mechanics of the plan will be roughly the same as they have been in the past, which are, as an employer adds a job, they inform and if that job, if part of their hiring process or decision to create a position was influenced by Corona having this plan in place, then we will work with them to basically put that in writing and get that to us so that we can verify it and move on from and start to include them in the plan. So if that makes any sense to anybody, I apologize again for having my incredibly old 1-year-old iPhone, for whatever reason, bomb out. But everything is online so for you to take advantage of and to work. Everything will remain anonymous. You're not going to be signing up for, and all of the data will be handled in accordance with all codes and regulations. And we are here to protect you guys. And that's really what we're trying to do here is stay a step ahead of where we know regulation will be in the next 6 months, 9 months, 2 years. So happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you, Jeff. We have several questions in the chat for you today.
Okay.
So since you were just talking about the survey, we'll start with those ones. Other than the survey, how can those on the call participate in Corona 2025?
Sure. So two quick ways. We're going to be requesting from the city, and we've never had a problem in the past, so I can't just presume we would have one, but it's their process that we would present to the city council and its committee through its committee process as well on how we would like them to participate. We really, and in the past, it's just been a stacking of hands. And that's really the direction that we're hoping that we head in here, is that this is a very straightforward program. There isn't a lot of expense, if any, to it other than our lobbying trips. And then secondly, having people on our trips when we do go to Sacramento and Washington, D.C. Those can be expensive and those do take a couple days, but it is extremely important. It was critically important for the deputy director from Caltrans to hear directly from employers, from our members. It's great to hear from Bobby. It's great to hear from myself. It's great to hear from others. But when, Elaine Norland can look someone, just to pick someone who's typically been on our trips, when she can look at people and say, look, I added 15 jobs because of this plan. I was able to add 15 jobs. That really speaks to these folks, because they honestly don't get a lot of interaction with the people that generate over 2/3 of the jobs, which are small to medium-sized business owners. And that's speaking of the size of the business, not the size of the owner. And so that's nothing. Nobody even noticed. I'm sorry. The phone must have frozen again. But so those are two critical ways of. So three critical ways: take the survey, participate with us when the time is appropriate, probably first of the year with the city as they go through their process of determining whether and how they would like to partner, and then join us in communicating that forward to Sacramento and Washington, D.C.
Great, thank you. And since you picked on Elaine and she posted her question publicly, I've asked her to unmute in case it needs a little bit of clarification. If an employer plans on a significant hiring, who would you address this type of information to if they can collect it from the potential employees? Is there a format or question that they should be asking the potential employees? And I'm not sure what it's in reference to specifically. This was about 10:30, so this was pre-survey.
Sure, so it's pre-survey. So if it's from the business owner or manager, then that would go directly to you guys at the chamber. On we're adding these jobs and we're eliminating this amount of traffic. If it's specific to the survey, they can just go online and take the survey and indicate there's another position there, or there's another spot there where they can make a note and they can just say, work with Elaine at her company, for instance, as an instance.
Elaine, was that the question that you were looking to have answered?
Yeah, pretty much. I'll look at the survey, but I think, we should hear in the next week if we've gotten this major contract, and we're going to be hiring 100 people if we get it. So
awesome.
That's where I'm trying to find out. I can quickly throw in some type of question in the hiring format to see how it affects, to help this survey. So. Yeah,
in your case, you would. We've designed our process that you wouldn't have to add any piece of that. It would just be, we're a part of the plan. We've added these jobs. The plan is going to help us add these jobs.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Jeff. Just a few more questions.
Sure.
So you had mentioned that the results of the survey are going to go to the executive committee, and from there they would decide some different ways that people can get involved. How about once we start seeing progress or results from Corona 2025? How is this going to be reported to members of the chamber and the community?
Sure. We had 20 different updates of so basically once a month we updated on the progress for 2020. We shared via the newspaper and the web and the Corona Chamber website, and infographics and memes and so really it's to stay tuned to my chamber and to be active with the chamber, and there will be monthly updates going forward. Yeah, this is a major undertaking for us, and it's a big calling card for us as well. So yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. What's the timeline for implementing Corona 2025?
So we are producing this as we're also producing the legislative platform, and then moving forward, we're going to be we're looking to implement this in January. So to maximize the amount of time we have available. Corona 2020 as a plan runs through December. We know that obviously we're still not going to get very good data based on the fact that everything has been, so much has been closed. So, but really want to get it underway in January.
Thank you. Okay, last question. Does
Sure.
the chamber take on local business issues?
In our legislative process, absolutely. Yeah, this is so one of the reasons we took on Corona 2020 specifically was because cities are facing an unprecedented threat from Sacramento of being able to lose or have threatened their entire process to even permit businesses if they weren't being active in these areas. And it's an incredible risk that some cities have decided just to hope to take on and kind of hope for the best. And we thought, well, that's not a public, hoping for the best is not always a public policy. It's a great way to get to sleep at night, but it's not something that we could take to members. So, but we do get very, very active in lobbying issues. I know Bobby's been very active as well for years in handling issues, whether it's street locations or working on road closures, or we're very active during the 91 expansion on what we call the war zone, and literally handling issue by issue for business owners. We all knew that the 91 would be better for it, but that didn't make making payroll each and every week even any easier. And so we were very active in that.
Thank you, Jeff. Those are all the questions in the chat.
Thank
Excellent.
you, Stephanie.
Thank you, guys.
I just want to say, for all of you on this call, for all of you that will be watching this at a later date, what you just saw, this presentation from these two gentlemen, Jeff Miller and Jeff Gibson, is the very core and the purpose of the Corona Chamber of Commerce, to make Corona a place where it's desirable to live, work, and shop. This is the nuts and bolts, this planning, this looking ahead. This is what we are about. And I cannot be more grateful to Jeff Miller and Jeff Gibson for presenting this today and keeping us updated and informed continually on what is available, the directions, options. This is what we are about. And when we come to you to become a member and our strength and our influence, this is what we're talking about. Gentlemen, this is the meat and potatoes, the bread and butter, whatever you call it. Thank you so much for your presentation today. I hope everyone maybe even go back and watch it again, so you really understand what we're about and where we're going. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn it over to Kim for a minute.
Thank you, Don. As most of you know, every month we have an event called Good Morning Corona, but November is a special edition as we do our salute to the military. It's happening a week earlier than normal, which is this Friday, November 13th. Registration has technically closed, but we have just a few seats remaining. So go online or call the chamber as soon as this call ends to get your seat. Join us for breakfast as we honor our military for their service to the nation. A virtual option is available as well. Don?
And again, as I just mentioned, if you are not a member, please contact our main man, Robert Yanez, Membership Development Specialist. Let him get you the information, get it to anyone that you know, and you get a free ad in the Corona Business News as well. Kim?
We also highly encourage you to follow us on your social media accounts. Get invited to our events and find out about all the latest happenings through our Facebook page. Get tips on how to maximize your member benefits and get to know your fellow members through Instagram. Watch video, event recaps, helpful seminars, and more through YouTube channel. See up-to-the-minute happenings on Twitter and connect with fellow professionals on LinkedIn. It's a digital age, and it's the best way to get real-time updates on what's in store for you, our members.
Thank you, Kim. Once again, we'd like to thank today's sponsor, Peabody Engineering, for sponsoring this call. If you are interested in sponsoring this call, please contact the Corona Chamber of Commerce. We're running out of calls for the year 2020, so please contact the Chamber. And as far as Peabody Engineering, when I think of entrepreneurs and people with small businesses, I think of Mark Peabody. Mark has been very active in this Chamber of Commerce. He's the past chairman of the board. He's currently on the board. Mark has given so much to this city on behalf of his company, Peabody Engineering. He is a very patriotic individual. He's not afraid to speak up and move forward. And this is a person and a family I really admire. And Peabody Engineering is just the blueprint. I wish every business would care as much about the country, the city, the community as much as Peabody Engineering and those who operate it. So I just want to give my personal thanks to Mark, his family, and the company. So moving on, I want to encourage everyone to register for this call. We do this again every morning, every Wednesday morning. Next week, we're going to be talking with the guest speaker will be Mark Uffer. He's the CEO of the Corona Regional Medical Center. Mark's been on this call before. He's going to address us coping with COVID, which is, this call actually started as a COVID update, and we've moved on to other things, but this is getting back to why we began. And it's a very timely topic for us to talk about COVID. As you know, we're resurging again. And to have someone the caliber of Mark Uffer come and give us his firsthand insight and knowledge, we are most fortunate. We really appreciate him. You'll have a chance to ask him any questions and again, pick his brain about what's going on, what's going forward, and any advice that he might have for you or your business. So please sign up for next week. The information's there on the screen. Again, we do this every Wednesday at 10 o'clock. So that's about it for today. Again, thank you to our speakers, Jeff, the two Jeffs, Jeff Miller and Jeff Gibson. And thank you for being on this call. And at this time, we adjourn you. Hope to see you Friday at Good Morning Corona. Thank you all.
Thank you.